The 2006 reboot of Doom was a runaway hit with gamers pretty much across the board, seamlessly merging the fast-paced run-and-gun gameplay of classic FPSs with the polished and set pieces of modern gaming. Furthermore, it has a great unobtrusive storyline that was told through the gameplay itself, and codex entries that you are free to read at your leisure. Only as I continued to play and uncover more about the hellish world I was ripping and tearing through, a realization struck me. All this story, it was not the backstory of some modern reboot, but information about a character missing in action that we all know very well, and all the knowledge we will need to put together a puzzle that will redefine everything we think we know. Doom is not a reboot, but a sequel to id Software's classic Doom and Doom 2, and what's more, one that sheds a whole new light on its beloved forebears.
Hello, my honey. Hello, my rack.
The first two Doom games were a testament to game design and ultra-violence, and became the bedrock for what we know today as first-person shooter genre. But they weren't exactly too heavy on the story side. Having only throwaway text screens at the end of each episode, it is clear that plot wasn't on the mind when designing Doom. This was such a strong factor that John Carmack even compared video game storylines to those of porn films, stating it's expected to be there, but it's not that important. Clearly times have changed though, and the new iteration of Doom moved with them, giving a good amount of focus to having a solid storyline that players could actually invest in. As it turned out though, we could be much more invested in the story than anybody could have ever thought, with several nods to previous games and even retroactive continuity to tie the entire series together. Well, almost the entire series. Doom 3 is an odd one, but we'll come back to that. First, we need to familiarise ourselves with the newly revealed backstory of Doom. In ancient times, in a distant, alternate dimension called Argent D'Nur, lived a race of people who bowed before wraiths they saw as gods. These wraiths were protected by a caste of fearsome warriors named the Night Sentinels. These warriors would protect Argent D'Nur from the wrath of another realm known only as Hell, that would invade and assimilate entire realities for its own ends. Utilising the wraith's elemental power, the Sentinels fought back the demons over and over. One day though, the forces of Hell abducted the son of one of the warriors, now only known as the Betrayer. In desperation, the warrior sold out his whole dimension and made a deal with the Hell priest, Dig Grav, for the return of his son. The Betrayer would lead the priest and his followers to the resting place of the Wraiths, and there they would be captured and manipulated into a source of power that would become known to the humans as Argent Energy. From here, without the power of the Wraiths, the Night Sentinels fell and Argent D'Nur was swiftly consumed by Hell. As agreed, the priest would return the Betrayer's son, but he would find that a deal with Hell was never what it seemed. His returned son had been changed, mutilated, transformed into a terrible demon, a testament to the Betrayer's treachery, the icon of sin. Soon enough, the protagonist of the series, the Doomslayer, would appear and wreak havoc on the forces of Hell. But how, you may ask, does this all tie together? Well, for that we have to travel all the way back to the first Doom and the end of the first episode, Knee Deep in the Dead. In an attempt to further their quest of invasion and assimilation, Hell opens portals to our own reality and attempts to capture a staging ground on one of Mars' moons, Deimos. Led by the terrible cyber demon, they attack a Union Aerospace Corporation facility, and station Marines fight back to the best of their ability, but quickly find that they are outmatched. Not only are they killed, but they are reanimated to bolster the hellish forces. One Marine manages to avoid this fate, and fights his way through the ranks in an attempt to kill their leader and drive them back to Hell. Unfortunately, after triumphing over a pair of Barons of Hell, he falls into a trap and is quickly dispatched like his colleagues. This time it's different though. This time something else finds him before the demons can raise him as one of their own. After the fall of Argent D'Nur, the Betrayer, devastated and broken, reeling with regret at what he had done, abandoned his physical form as penance and vowed to redeem himself, to undo the crimes he had committed. But to do this he needed an avatar, a powerful soul who could bring vengeance onto the hordes of Hell, and that soul UAC Marine had unwittingly proved himself. Reanimating the Marine with the last of his power, the Betrayer and the Marine were now one in the same, and the Doomslayer was born. With all the fury of Argent Demure, he tore through the forces of hell, killing the cyber demon, driving the demons back to hell, following them through and finally eliminating the mastermind of the takeover. But it was too late. Forces had already been sent to Earth under the command of another, one the Doomslayer feared, what had once been the betrayer's son, the icon of sin. With no other choice, he tore through the invading demons on Earth, allowing the surviving humans to escape the doomed planet. But the Doomslayer knew he must go back to hell and destroy the icon of sin, his own son. Upon accomplishing this, the portals back to Earth are closed and he is trapped. But the death throes of the icon have wrought widespread devastation across hell. Regardless whether you count the events of Doom 64 as canon, the result is the same. The Doomslayer now resides in hell, a place that is falling into disarray. Using the opportunity, he scours the umbral planes and rampages across hell, taking vengeance on the Dark Lords who had wronged him. Seeing his quest bear fruit, a mysterious enemy of hell known as the Seraphim granted the Doomslayer great speed and power, allowing him to level the temples of hell, and hunted what is hinted at being the devil himself. Rather, he is faced with a great demon, the Titan, but this colossal foe has failed like all others. Eventually, after striking terror into the demons of hell themselves, the Doomslayer is tricked into a trap and forced into a deep slumber that the demons of hell hoped would last forever. Fortunately, he is uncovered by a group of humans bearing the UAC moniker, attempting to mine the Argent energy, kicking off the plot of the newest game where the Doomslayer would eventually free the Wraiths with the help of the spirits of the Night Sentinels, and ultimately redeem himself in the eyes of Argent Demure before being betrayed by the cybernetic Samuel Hayden, ready for the events of another sequel. Now this all fits together well enough, other than the fact that it's presumed that the Doomslayer was in prison for a very long time, hundreds if not thousands of years within hell. This is made abundantly clear by the fact his rampage is said to have taken place in the First Age, and the events of the game are taking place in the Fourth Age. Not to mention we return to sites where the Doomslayer has battled, including the Titan's corpse and the Icon of Sin itself, both of which look to have been in decay for a very long time. However, the new Doom takes place in the 22nd century, not nearly long enough after the end of Doom 2. Now it is possible that time moves slower in Hell than it does in our reality, but given what's already been established with Hell's dimension hopping antics, it is much more likely that Hell is a singular dimension and the Mars the Doomslayer finds himself on is an entirely different reality. What's more is that the world of Doomfray may take place in yet another reality, being invaded by the same hell. An Easter egg in the game is even an ancient tablet depicting what seems to be one of the Doomslayer's epic battles, placing it firmly within established canon. So after all of this, the new Doom game has not only managed to create a compelling story of its own, but build an entire multiverse, tying all the main Doom games together into one single coherent narrative while still managing to offer intense retro-style carnage. I mean, no wonder it got so many Game of the Year awards.